Now Gupta and post Gupta period. We will read this. So theory you can study by stopping video. So your theory is given. Okay. So we will cover through the options of all the theory part also. It will be covered from the options. Okay. So now first question is Gupta dynasty ruled during 390 to 500 AD. Gupta dynasty ruled during 275 to 550 AD. This dynasty was established by the king Srigupta around 275 AD. The Srigupta founded Gupta dynasty during 275 AD. But the first powerful ruler of Gupta dynasty was Chandragupta I, who ruled during 390 to 355 AD. He has held the title of Maharaja Dhiraj. Remember this Maharaja Dhiraj, what title of Chandragupta I. In contrast to his predecessor to show his importance. Who of the following rulers had performed four Ashwamedhas? Pravar Sen first. King of Vakataka, Pravar Sen first had performed four Ashwamedhas. He also performed many Vedic obligations. Pravar Sen second, another ruler of same dynasty, was interested in literature and wrote Setubandh. Who is known as the Napoleon of India? Simple. It is Samudragupta. Asked in UPCS also. Historian V. A. Smith, in his composition Early History of India, called Samudragupta. Remember the V. A. Smith called Samudragupta during 375 AD of Napoleon of India for his great military conquest. Who is called the Napoleon of ancient India? It is Samudragupta. Who among the following Gupta king had another name? Devgupta. It is Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II was named Devgupta. Remember this. They asked this year also related this. Another name of Gupta ruler Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, is found as Devgupta. Its evidence has been obtained from Sanchi and Vakataka inscriptions. Apart from the above, he is known as Devraj and Devasri. The first Gupta ruler to assume the title of Param Bhagavat was Samudragupta. The copper plate inscriptions of Samudragupta from Nalanda and Gaya describes Param Bhagavat title of Samudragupta. Param Bhagavat title of Samudragupta. As given option C, but Samudragupta is correct answer. The first Gupta ruler to assume the title of Param Bhagavat was Samudragupta. If it is yes. The Allahabad pillar inscription is associated with which one of the following? The Asoka also there, Chandragupta also there on that pillar. The Asoka pillar inscriptions of Allahabad is associated with Samudragupta. It is considered to be the most important historical document of classical Gupta age, written in excellent Sanskrit, written by Harisen. It is also known as Prayag Prasasti. Remember this Prayag Prasasti written by Harisen on the name of Samudragupta. This inscription is a panegyric tribute praising Samudragupta and lists the political and military achievements of his reign, including his expeditions to the south built by Asoka. Originally, it was shooted in Kausambi, which was later shifted to Allahabad, Prayagraj by Akbar. The name of Jahangir and Birbal is also mentioned there. The Asoka pillar at Allahabad provides information about the reign of Samudragupta. Prayag Prasasti tells about the military campaign of Samudragupta. Prayag Prasasti. What was the name of the ruler of Kosal in Samudragupta's Prayag Prasasti? It is Mahendra. Okay. Kosal has been mentioned in Prayag Prasasti of Samudragupta along with other kingdom and other kings of Dachinapat. Mahendra is mentioned as the king of Kosal in his inscriptions. Important king. An inscription by which the following is found on the pillars containing Prayag Prasasti of Samudragupta. Jahangir. On Prayag Prasasti of Allahabad inscriptions, three things are found. Which one? Asoka, then Jahangir, Then Samudragupta. Okay, these are the name are found. Prayagraj is the name given to Allahabad pillar. It is an Ashokan pillar but has four different inscriptions. Ashokan inscription in Brahmin script. Queen edict regarding the charitable deed of Ashoka's wife Kauravi. Samudragupta inscription written by Arisen in Sanskrit language and Brahmin script and Jahangir inscription in Persian. Right, so three things. Jahangir. Which one of the following Gupta ruler is referred to as Lichvi Dauhitra, son of the daughter of the Lichvi? It is Samudragupta. The Gupta ruler Samudragupta was referred to as Lichvi Dauhitra, grandson of Lichvi. Samudragupta's mother Kumara Devi was a princess of Lichvi dynasty, which is why he was given this title. Okay. Samudragupta's father was Chandragupta first. But this Prithvi and Samudragupta's mother is Kumara Devi was princess of Lichvi dynasty, which is why he was given this title. Oh, okay. Lichvi Dauhitra. Samudragupta was known as Lichvi Dauhitra, grandson of Lichvi. Prithvya Pratham Veer was title of Samudragupta. DPSC and other state pieces asked about this title. Keep this in mind. Prithvi Pratham Veer. In his book, A Political History of Imperial Gupta, Tej Ram Sharma describes Aswamedh Yajna, which was done by Samudragupta. After this ritual, he assumed the title of Prithvya Pratiratha, which means a man who has no rival on the earth. The first brave man on the earth. Uttar Pradesh, okay, excluded this question. I think they were not included this. Harisen was famous poet of Samudragupta's court. It's correct. Okay. Prasas is written by Harisen. He composed the epic Devi Chandraguptam. No, it's not correct. Okay. A Saghosh like written Buddhacharya, so he also written this. He also the author of the Prayag Prasasti. Yes, Prayag Prasasti written by Harisen. So 1 and 3. Yes, here. Samudragupta court poet and minister Harisen has presented a praiseworthy description of Sanskrit language on Allahabad pillar. Okay. In Sanskrit language, Allahabad pillar inscription written, which has been called the Prayag Prasasti. This inscription is an eulogy of Samudragupta. I mentioned his conquest. Devi Chandraguptam is a composition of Vishakdatta. Mudra Rakshas is written na. As to Buddhacharit, Vishakdatta, Devi Chandraguptam. Mudra Rakshas. Match list first and second. Samudragupta, contemporary king of South India and their kingdom. So Dhananjay related with Kusthalpuram, and Neelaraj is related with Avamukta, Ugrasen, Palak, Vishnugopa, Kachi, right? So Dhananjay, Kustalpura, Neelaraj, Avamukta, Ugrasen, Pavalaka, and Vishnugopa is Kanchi. The iron column located in the country of Delhi, Quwwatul Islam Mosque is retention of Chandra. It is the name of Chandra on that pillar. Mehrauli iron pillar, very famous pillar. Remember this. Inscriptions are acquired from Mehrauli in Delhi, located in central of the courtyard of Quwwatul Islam Mosque. It describes a king named Chandra, who it is assumed as Chandragupta II of Gupta clan. According to recognition, the Mehrauli iron pillar was situated at Vishnugiri near Udaygiri Hills during the period of Chandragupta II, around 410 AD. Chandragupta II was the devotee of Lord Vishnu. He constructed this iron pillar in respect of Lord Vishnu. Emblem bearer of Lord Vishnu, Garuda, was engraved on the apex of this pillar. Which Gupta ruler assumed the throne after killing his elder brother, Chandragupta II? After Samudragupta, his son Ramgupta became the ruler, but due to his inability to oppose the invasion of Saka, his brother Chandragupta II killed Ramgupta and married his wife Dhruva and won against Saka. Right. Which dynasty was distracted the most by the Hunaj invasion? It's Gupta dynasty. The first invasion of Hunaj took place during the reign of Skandagupta. Remember this. And Hunaj were comprehensively defeated by him. This invasion was just like a raid and there was no lasting impact on India. But this invasion intensified the decline of Gupta Empire. Hunaj next many regions of northwest in a transition period of 5-6 century after the death of Skandagupta. The Hunaj invaded India during the reign of Skandagupta. Okay. Skandagupta. Who among the following Gupta rulers conquered Hunaj? It is Skandagupta. The Gupta Emperor who defeated the Hunaj was Skandagupta. Remember this important one. Asked in the BPSC 2011. Who among the following Gupta ruler defeated Hunaj? Skandagupta. Okay. From which inscription is it known that Skandagupta defeated Hunaj? V3 pillar inscriptions. Asked in ROARO 2014. V3 pillar inscription is found at a place known as V3 in Sayyadpur Tahsil of district Gazipur, Uttar Pradesh. The descriptions of the war between Skandagupta and Hunaj is mentioned in V3 pillar inscription. It is noteworthy that the first Indian invasion of Hunaj took place during the reign of Skandagupta, in which Hunaj were badly defeated by Skandagupta. There were different causes for the downfall of the Gupta Empire. Which one among the given was not a cause? Arab invasion was a cause, feudal setup administration was a cause, acceptance of Buddhism by later Gupta was also a cause. But Arab invasion was not a cause of downfall of Gupta. So D will be the answer. The decline of Gupta Empire was not due to the Arab invasion. Arab invaded India during the medieval era, much later after the downfall of Gupta Empire. Who is known as Saka conqueror? It is Chandragupta II. Yes, Samvat. Gupta ruler Chandragupta II, also known as Vikramaditya, was known as the Saka conqueror, as he eliminated Saka power by defeating last Saka king Rudradaman III. In the first decade of his century, he adopted the title of Sakari. Remember the Sakari, Chandragupta II means Vikramaditya. After this victory, he issued silver coins, Rupak. Rupak, remember this. Like dinar is gold, so Rupak is silver coins on this occasion. Who was the first Gupta ruler to receive silver coins? Is Chandragupta II Vikramaditya. With reference to Chandragupta II, which are the following statements is correct? Which one? The strongest evidence in the context of the Saka victory is silver coins of this coin. Correct. Silver coins by Chandragupta II Vikramaditya, who defeated Saka. The weight of these coins used to be 33 grains. Can be. So both are correct. Okay. UPPCS 2022 asked. After victory over Saka, Chandragupta II released silver coins, which were known as Rupak. These coins usually weigh around 30 to 33 grains. After conquering the Sakas, which of the following metal coins were introduced by Chandragupta II? It is silver. Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II victory over the mighty Saka dynasty was his foremost success. The annexation of Saka king comprising Gujarat and part of Malwa strengthened the Gupta Empire, but also brought into direct contact with the western seaports. After the victory over Saka, Chandragupta II adopted the title of Sakari, destroyer of Saka. Chandragupta II issued dated silver coins to commemorate his victory over Saka Chhatrapas. The famous Chinese pilgrim Huayan visited India during the reign of Chandragupta II. Famous question. PCS also asked. Remember this. Huayan and Yuanzhang during the Harshvardhan. Asked in BPSC 2017. Huayan visited during the reign of Chandragupta II. Right. In which dynasty did Chandragupta II marry his daughter Prabhavati and strengthen his position? It is Vakataka king, contemporary of Gupta king. Prabhavati was the daughter of Chandragupta II. She married Rudrasen II of Vakataka dynasty. After her husband's death, she effectively ruled the Vakataka Empire as a regent. Okay. Prabhavati Gupta was ruler of Vakataka dynasty. Prabhavati Gupta was the daughter of one of the most important ruler in early Indian history, Chandragupta II. She was married into another important ruling family, that of the Vakataka, who was powerful in the Deccan. She was the Vakataka queen, who was the consort of Maharaja Rudrasen II. Following the death of her husband, she effectively ruled the Vakataka kingdom as a regent. Consider the following about the king Pravar Singh. He was the real founder of Vakataka. No, it's not correct. His empire extended from Bundelkhand in north to Hyderabad in south, correct. He succeeded his father King Vindhyasakti, correct. He is mentioned in Puranas. It's more than one. Okay, 2024. Vakataka king dynasty was ancient Indian royal dynasty that ruled over central and southern parts of India from 3rd century to 5th century. Remember, the Vakataka dynasty ruled during 3rd to 5th. And the beginning of 6th century, founder of this dynasty is Vindhyasakti. Remember this. Okay, not Pravar Sen. Okay, so these two will be correct or wrong. So it's Vindhyasakti, whose successor was Pravar Sen. Okay, Pravar Sen was successor of Vindhyasakti. So who is considered the actual founder of the Vakataka dynasty? During the time of Pravar Sen, the boundaries of Vakataka dynasty reached from Bundelkhand in north to Deccan, including modern Hyderabad in south. The Vakataka rulers expanded their territory to include vast region under their influence. Among the rulers of Vakataka dynasty, Pravar Sen assumed the title of Samrat and performed several Aswamedh yagna, horse sacrifice, and Vedic rituals. According to the Purana, he is referred to as Pravira. So all the statements correct. Which of the following is not correctly matched? Which one not correctly matched? First, Kumar Gupta first, Mandsaur inscription correct. Patik Takshila inscription right. Prabhavati Gupta not Udayagiri inscriptions, okay. And Samudragupta is Iran inscriptions. Kumar Gupta Mandsaur inscription correct. Patik is Takshila inscription. Chandragupta is second Udayagiri, and Samudragupta is Iran. Which of the following inscriptions is known as the first advertisement of the world? Is Daspur inscription, first advertisement. Daspur inscription is the first advertisement of the world, also known as Mandsaur inscription. It belongs to the period of Kumar Gupta first and contains advertisement about silk trade. Mandsaur Prasasti presents the details of the achievements of which ruler? Kumar Gupta first. Vasabhatti was a contemporary of Kumar Gupta first, composed the Mandsaur Prasasti at Malwa. The Mandsaur Prasasti presents the details of achievements of Kumar Gupta first. It also describes that the silk workers had constructed a sun temple here, which was repaired by Bandhu Varma. Which of the following inscriptions reveals information about silk weaver guild? Daspur inscriptions. Okay. So Daspur Mandsaur inscription of Kumar Gupta first mentions Tantuvaya silk weaver guild, Tantuvaya, and also mentions his governors Bandhu Varman and the erection of the sun temple. It was during his reign a temple dedicated to Surya was constructed by the silk weavers at Daspur. The temple was renovated by the same guild. In relation to the Daspur inscriptions of Kumar Gupta and Bandhu Varman, which statement is correct? So the inscription mentions the construction of the sun temple by the guild. Incorrect, it's asking. It's correct. MPPC 2024. Kumar Gupta and Bandhu Varma are asking about. It is the oldest example of advertisement tradition in Bharat, correct. The inscription also refers to a Daspur as Panchimpur, correct. The inscription was composed by Bhavabhoti. No, it's wrong. So D will be the answer. In Daspur Mandsaur inscriptions of Kumar Gupta and Bandhu Varman, it is mentioned that Sun Temple in Daspur was constructed by guild of silk weavers from the Lata region. It describes silk fabrics which are considered oldest example of advertisement tradition in India. The inscriptions also refers to Daspur as Paschimpur, The inscriptions was not composed by Bhavabhuti but rather as Vasabhatti. Himachal is first, base list second, and select correct one. Kings and queens. So Chandragupta's queen, which one? Kumar Devi. Samudragupta queen was Datta Devi. Chandragupta second was, it is Kuber Naga. He was Vikramaditya. Kumargupta first queen was Ananta Devi. BU 2019. So Chandragupta wife Kumar Devi and Samudragupta is Datta Devi. Chandragupta second Kuber Naga and Kumargupta first is Ananta Devi. Okay. So you can, if you know only Chandragupta second wife Kuber Naga, it is famous. So still you can conclude, you can play with the 50-50 also. Yeah. So A will be the answer. Which of the following is the correct sequence of administrative division during the Gupta period? It was asked in ROR 2023, which recently happened, re-exam. So correct sequence during Gupta Empire of administrative division. So first is Bhukti. Okay, first is Bhukti, which was empire. So we say district type. Okay, then Vithi block level, then Grama village level. Okay, which you can remember like this. Which means district magistrate will rule over it. Which then Bhukti means province type. So during Gupta period, empire divided into province, namely Bhukti, like province of Bhukti. So first empire king were highest was, then Bhukti came. Uparik they were called. Visyaj, Visyapati were head. Okay. Vithi, Ayulan are Vithi Mahatar. Okay. So after Visya, then Vithi, then Gram. Okay. So know this Bhukti, Visyaj, Vithi, and Gram. Gramic head was Gramik or Ashtakuladhikari. Okay. From the 3rd century AD, when the Hunayn invasion invaded the Roman Empire, the Indian merchants relied more and more on the Southeast Asian trade. Okay. When the Hunayn invasion invaded the Roman Empire in 3rd century AD, the Indian merchants relied more and more on Southeast Asian trade. Which one of the following ports handled the North Indian trade during the Gupta period? Tamralipti. Okay. Tamralipti port. Tamralipti port in Bengal, very important, remember this. Tamralipti port in Bengal was prominent port during Gupta period, from where trade was conducted with Southeast Asia, China, Lanka, Java, Sumatra, as well as northeastern India. Western coast had an important port of Bhrigu, Kachha, Bharuch, from where Gupta rulers used to trade with western countries. Which one of the following ports was in use for the North Indian trade during the Gupta period? More than one. During the Gupta period, Tamralipti of Bengal fort was an important port that was used for trading with Southeast Asia, China, Lanka, Java, Sumatra. Bhigu Kach, Bharuch was an important port of Western India. Remember the Bhigu Kach, Bharuch, Western India, from where trade of North India and with Western country occurred through sea route. During the Gupta period, most of the Indian trade happened with Southeast Asia. Hence, Tamralipti was most important port of this period. However, Bharuch, Kalyan, Kambesh were also used for North Indian trade. Okay. So, more than one. BPSC 2019 it was asked. India mentioned its early cultural contexts and trade links with Southeast Asia across the Bay of Bengal for the preeminence of the early maritime history of Bay of Bengal. Which of the following could be the most convincing explanation? As compared to the other country, India had a better shipbuilding technology in ancient and medieval times. Okay. The rulers of southern India always patronized traders, Brahmin priests, and Buddhist monks in this context. Can be. Okay. But monsoon across the Bay of Bengal facilitated sea voyage. It's more correct, right? It's asking related with this Southeast Asia across Bay of Bengal trade. Okay, from maritime trade, Bay of Bengal preeminence. So It's not related with the Bengal trade. Bengal trade may be true, but not southern India talking about. But it's talking about Bengal trade. So that's why it's answer with the C. India maintained solidly cultural contacts and trade links with Southeast Asia across the Bay of Bengal, as the monsoon winds originating from the Bay of Bengal facilitated the cruise, which in turn enhanced the trade and cultural contacts. So C will be the correct. With reference to the guilds Sreni of ancient India that played a very important role in ancient countries' economy, which of the following? Correct. So every guild was registered with central authority, and king was the chief administrative authority on them. It may be the true chief authority, but every guild was registered with the central authority. If you remember, this is the trick. This is the extreme word. Like if one guild is not registered with the central authority, then its option will be wrong. Then who is going to count that which is not registered? Any single one not registered, then this option can be wrong. So it's wrong. So this wrong, this wrong. Asked in IS3. So play with 50-50 means 2 and 3 is correct. This is wrong. So 3 is correct. The guild had judicial power over its member, correct. Now the wages, rules of work, standards and prices were fixed by the king, fixed by the guild. Guild means traders. So it's true. Because wages and rules, definitely traders do this, so they will decide. So 2 and 3 is correct. Wherever you see a extreme option or anything suspicious, then you can make it incorrect. Guilds were very important in the economy of ancient India. These organizations were established by the merchants for the proper regulation of their trade. Guilds had their judicial power over their members and also had the powers to pursue the salaries, rules of job, standards, and prices. Every guild had its head without any intervention by the kingdom. It was also important for governing the local body. The centers located in Gujarat, Bengal, Deccan, and Tamil country during the Gupta period were associated with which of the following? Textile manufacturers in ancient time. Gujarat, Bengal, Deccan, and Tamil Nadu were famous for the textile manufacturing industry. Okay. Textile industry was primary industry during the Gupta period. Remember this. In ancient period, which Varna was also called as Sartvaha? Which one? It is Chhatri, yes, Vaisya, traders one. Sartvaha, okay, Vaisya one. They were doing trade is Sartvaha. Proper rules of conduct for trades were prescribed by the head of trade guilds, known as Sartvaha or Sreni Pramukh. Sartvaha, Sreni Pramukh. The rules were called Samay and Sreni Dharma, hence the term Sartvaha is associated with Vaisya. Who among the following is known for his work on medicine during the Gupta period? Okay. For work on medicine during the Gupta period, more than one. Like Susrut also. Okay. Susrut is called the father of surgery, remember this. He was a resident of Kashi. It is believed that his period around 600 BC, remember this, during Buddha period. Saunaka was a sage of Rigveda. Sudrak was a dramatist of Gupta period. Remember the Sudrak is Mudra Rakshas. Okay. Sudrak. But dramatist. Okay. Literature. Saumili is a playwright of Gupta who has been remembered by Kalidas with language and poetry during the Gupta period. Although Bihar in NSS died considered A, but Gupta period begins in 275 AD, which about 875 years later than the Valley period of Surit. Okay, 600. It is not considered as a conquest. So this will be the answer. Okay, this is not this 6th century, but it's asking Gupta period. So, but he was not. Who among the following is known for his Ayurvedic thematic composition during Gupta period? Who won? It is not correct, right? So that's why they didn't give answer. Okay. Who among the following is not associated with medicine in ancient India? Bhaskaracharya related with maths. So Dhanvantri related with medicine. Charak Samhita we know it. Sushrut we know it. Father of surgery. Sushrut. Yeah. Year. Dhanvantri was one of the Naratnas of Chandragupta second, who won Vikramaditya. He was the master in Ayurveda. Charak and Sushrut were also great scholars of Ayurveda. Charak was the physician of Kanishka. Remember this? Charak. Sushrut was 6th century and Charak during the first and second AD. Okay. As who wrote Charak Samhita, while Bhaskaracharya was a great astronomer and mathematician. He composed Siddhant Shiromani by Bhaskaracharya and Lilavati. Remember, they used to ask me Lilavati and Siddhant Shiromani by Bhaskaracharya. Based on astronomy and mathematics. Lilavati, his daughter name, that's why I named it Lilavati. Lilavati was written by Bhaskaracharya. See, right? Bhaskaracharya second wrote Lilavati. Okay. With reference to the scientific progress of ancient India, which of the statements given above are correct? So, different kinds of the specialized surgical instrument were common used by the first AD, correct? Transplant of internal organs in the human body had begun by the beginning of 83rd century. How is it possible? External organ were being done, transplant, by surgery, but internal organ at that time were not there. Okay, so it's wrong or incorrect. So two is wrong. So you can use common sense also, like external, internal. They can change in this internal, external. So that's why it's wrong. External were there. You can say like skin were transplanted. Okay. So to second is wrong. So this incorrect, this incorrect. Now 3 and 4 is correct as per the option. Yeah. The concept of sign of the an angle was known as the fifth in 85th century. The concept of cyclic quadrilateral was known in 7th AD. Okay. The ancient surgery is notable for scientific development. Many surgical instruments were used in 1st century AD, but the transplant of human internal organs was not possible until then. Development in mass is notable in the Gupta period since cosine and inverse sign were known in 5th century AD. These are mentioned in Surya Siddhanta and Aryabhatiya. Brahmagupta describes cyclic quadrilaterals in 700 AD. So 1, 3, 4 are correct. In his travels through India, Fayan has mentioned a hospital. It was located at Pataliputra. Fayan has mentioned a hospital at Pataliputra, which was endowed by benevolent citizens. The poor and helpless patients suffering from any kind of disease were taken care of, and doctors attended them, and they were given food and medicine as per their wants. Who of the following among the 9 gems of the Chandragupta was associated with astrology? Chapanak, right? 9 gems of Chandragupta II were Kalidas, Dhanvantri. Dhanvantri was physician, Kalidas was poet. Varahamir, Amar Singh, Sanku, Chapanak astrologer, Vararuchi grammarian, Vetala Bhatt, and Gata Karpara diplomat. Kalidas was in ruling period of Chandragupta II. Right? Who among the following was the first to explain that the rotation of the earth on its own axis accounts for the daily rising and setting of the sun? It is Aryabhatta. Okay. Aryabhatta, a mathematician and astronomer, wrote Aryabhattian. He stated that day and nights were called by the rotation of the earth on its axis. Which among these are Gupta's gold coins? It is Dinara. Dinara were gold coins, Rupak were silver coins. Gold coins were issued by the Gupta rulers were known as Dinara, remember this, and Rupak were silver. Hayan people used Dinara for daily business. Okay, at that time. Gupta gold coins was called Dinara. Remember this? At that time, gold was famous, right? If this time its value is very high, 10 gram around 1 lakh. Okay, so but that time it's were common. Okay, the silver coins is issued by the Gupta were called as Rupak. Remember this important silver coins were known to Rupak and gold coins were dinar. Okay. The silver coins issued by the Gupta rulers were known as the Rupak. The Gupta coins have been found in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Odisha. Bharatpur, Bayana, in Rajasthan is the place from where a maximum number of coins have been found. Who of the following was the first Gupta ruler to issue coins? Who of the following? It's Chandragupta first. Chandragupta first to issue coins. Chandragupta first was the first Gupta ruler who issued the coins. There was no evidence available for issuance of coins by Ghatotkacha and Srigupta. The early rulers of Gupta dynasty. Samudragupta also issued various types of coins, but this his tenure was after Chandragupta first. In Sanskrit plays written during the Gupta period, women and Sudra speak Prakrit. They were not allowed to speak Sanskrit. In Sanskrit plays written during Gupta period, women and Sudra spoke in Prakrit language, while upper speak Varnas speak Sanskrit. The first inscriptions evidence of the first inscriptions evidence of the Sati Pratha has been found from Iran inscription. Sati Pratha. The first evidence of Sati Pratha has been found from the inscriptions of Iran. This inscription belongs to 510 AD, in which practice of Sati has been mentioned for a lady who was the wife of a war commander named Gopuraj, who established Gupta Samvat. Chandragupta first. Gupta Samvat was started by Chandragupta first in 319 AD. Majlish first with the second. So Asoka title Priyadarsin. Okay, Asoka is Priyadarsin. So A is second. So only this option correct. Samudragupta is Parakraman. Okay, Chandragupta second is Vikramaditya. Everybody knows. Askanagupta is Kramaditya. Okay. Asoka is Priyadarsin. Samudragupta is Parakramaka. Chandragupta second is Vikramaditya. Askanagupta is Kramaditya. Right. The gradual decline of towns was an important feature of which period is Gupta period. During the Gupta period, towns declined gradually. Most of the towns that were prosperous in the valley declined in that age. The major city Padalputra became a village when Yuan Sang came to India. Mathura, Sonpur, and Sogaura, all major city, provided evidence of a decline in this age. So we can say that gradual decline of towns important feature of Gupta. Which ruling dynasty donated maximum village to temples and Brahmins? It is Gupta dynasty. Okay. The rulers of Gupta dynasty donated a maximum number of villages to temples and Brahmins. Also, the income generated from the land of village used to be given to the owner of the land. In ancient India, which dynasty's rule is considered as the golden age? It is Gupta age is known as golden age. Gupta period in ancient India is considered as the golden age due to excellent development in the field of art and culture. During which age did women enjoy equality with men? Which age? In this age, women declined only in Vedic age. They enjoyed early Vedic age. Except of Vedic age, the situation of women was never good in ancient India. In the age of Gupta, Maurya, and Chola, the evidence of inferior condition of women has been found. Thus, condition of women with men cannot be compared. Okay. What was the land revenue rate in Gupta age? It is sixth part of production. A person who used to cultivate on the official land of the ruler, they had to pay a part of crop products as tax in Gupta period, which was the sixth portion of the production. Land revenue is known as Udarang and Bhag in Gupta inscriptions. Okay. Land revenue known as Udarang and Bhag. What was land revenue rate in religious books? It's 1/6. Okay. 1/6. In every religious text, the land revenue rate is 1/6 of the produce. What is the valid text according to Hindu law? 1/6 of the yield. Which type of land was called aprahat? It is without cultivated forest land. Okay. Uncultivable lands were called aprahat. It was a term of the revenue system in the Gupta period. With reference to the history of India, the terms Kul Vapa and Dron Vapa denote Vapa means measure. Remember this Vapa, measuring. Okay. So measurement of land can include like this Vapa Napa. You can say like Kulle Vapa means Napa Napana. Dron Vapa means Napana. Okay. Vapa. In IS Breath 120 it was asked. So measurement of land. Kulya Vapa and Dron Vapa were different measurement of land during the Gupta period. The Gupta Empire granted tax-free agrarian land to which are the following? Brahmins. The Gupta Empire granted tax-free agrarian land to religious functionaries, Brahmins. In ancient India, the irrigation tax was called. It is Udak Bhog, not even here. Hiranya was a cash tax in Mauryan period. The land tax was called Udarang in Gupta inscriptions. Right? Uparnika was the test on farmers living on the land. In 3rd AD, Warangal was famous for iron implements in Andhra Pradesh. Warangal was famous for production of iron equipment. Agaria people lived there and iron making was their traditional occupation. Right. With reference to the period of Gupta dynasty in ancient India, the towns Ghantasala, Kadura and Kaul were well known as ports handling foreign trades, right? Ghantasal, Kadura and Kaul. Mostly UPSC focuses on economic terms, where ports is given that way the mostly answer. In NCERT also given ports. Okay? Capitals not important for UPSC much. Places of education not important again. Okay, important but it's not related with this. Gupta period famous as a golden age. So they had trade also with the foreign countries. So for trade definitely it will come. Yeah. During Gupta period there was a flourishing external and internal trade. Ghansal, Kadura and Kaul were ports handling foreign trade. Tormana was from the racial group of Huna. Tormana was the leader of the second Huna invasion on India. Who among the following had defeated Huna ruler? Mihir Kul. Which one is Kandavat? Yasodharman. Okay. Mihir Kul was the Central Asian Huna origin, who was one of the most important Hepthalite emperor. The Gwalior inscription showed his territory, which included Gwalior. Mihir Kul suffered a defeat by Auli Kara king Yasodharman of Malwa in 528 AD. Okay. The Chinese pilgrim who visited India in the early 6th century was Sang Yun. Chinese pilgrim Sang Yun came to India in 518 AD and collected text of Buddha's preaching during his 3 years of stay in India. Chinese traveler Sang Yun came to India in which one? In 518 to 521. Okay. He collected text of Buddha preaching in his 3 years of travel. During Gupta period he came. According to Chinese source, Meghavarman, the ruler of Sri Lanka, sent a missionary to which are the following the king for permission to build a Buddhist temple at Gaya. It's some of the good easy question. Let's remember this. Means king of Sri Lanka sent missionary to Buddha emperor in Gaya to establish Buddha related temples. Okay. So it was in 69 BPSC 2023. Meghavarman sent missionary to Samudragupta to build a Buddhist temple at Gaya. Samudragupta granted permission to Buddhist king of Ceylon, Sri Lanka, Meghavarman, to build a monastery at Bodh Gaya. Then Gupta emperors claimed divine rights for themselves. Maybe Gaj king were doing that. Their administration was highly centralized, no decentralized were there. They extended the tradition of land grants, correct? So 1 and 3. Okay, see. There was a monarchy in the Gupta Empire. They believed in their supernatural origin, opposite to Mauryas. They extended the tradition of land donation, though it was not centralized. A federal system was followed. Not centralized. During Gupta period, it was decentralized. With reference to forced labor, Vishti in India during the Gupta period, which one of the following statements is correct? Vishti and forced labor. Remember the star Vishti. It was considered as a source of income for the state, as sort of tax paid by people. Yes, people were doing free of cost for the king, so definitely income will be saved by the king. So it is income for the king. It was totally absent in Madhya Pradesh and Kathiawar. Totally extreme word, wrong. The forced labor was entitled to weekly wages. Time was not fixed. Eldest son of laborer was sent as a forced laborer. Not correct. Okay. ISP 2019. Okay. Vishti was a form of forced labor. This term is important. Vishti means forced labor. Okay. By either state, provincial governor, or local chief. It is also mentioned in Gupta copper inscription that list out a variety of taxes. Junagadh inscriptions mention Vishti as one form of tax, okay, which indicates that it was imposed in Gujarat and Malabar region, since it was a forced labor in lieu of tax. It was not a wage labor. Wage labor existed in ancient India, but it was not called Vishti. Vishti could be imposed on anyone, not in particular on interest only. The game of chess is said to have originated in India. It's very famous right now. Like DGK became youngest one world champion in chess. Okay, India won. So game of chess originated in India during the Gupta period, was known as Chaturanga. It reached Iran and then Europe. Okay. Mrichkatika, an ancient Indian book written by Sudrak. Sudrak wrote Mrichkatika. Okay. It was a love affair of a rich merchant with daughter of a courtesan. Okay, it's not correct, not correct. So first is correct. Mrichkatika are the little clay art written by Sudra. Remember, the Sudra wrote Mrichkatika. Okay, R K. You can remember like this. K also here, K also here, K also. Mrichkatika Sudrak deals with the love story of a rich merchant with the daughter of a courtesan. It also tells about the changes in the society during the Gupta period. It also provides information about some Sudra officers in Ujjaini. Okay. Whose contribution is there in ancient Sankhya Darshan is Kapila. Sankhya Darshan is one of the most ancient philosophical schools of India. Maharishi Kapila is known as the Acharya of Sankhya Darshan. Okay. Sankhya Darshan related with the which one? Maharishi Kapila. He composed Sankhya Sutra and Tattva Samas. The system of philosophy propounded by Kapil Muni is Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy by Kapil Muni. Sankhya philosophy propounded by Kapila. With reference to history of philosophical thoughts in India, consider the following statement regarding Sankhya school. So Sankhya does not accept the theory of rebirth and is accepted. It's wrong. Sankhya holds that it is the self-knowledge that leads to liberation and not any exterior influence or agent. Correct. Okay. The Sankhya school is a part of six orthodox school of Indian philosophy. Sankhya philosophy accepts the theory of rebirth, right? They accepted this rebirth and transmigration of the soul. The science is the cause of sorrow, and self-enlightenment by knowledge is the solution for liberation from it. Sang holds that it is the self-knowledge that leads to liberation and not any exterior influence or agent. So Kapil is the earliest exponent of Sakya, right? Kapil teaches that man's life is shaped by forces of nature, not by a divine agency. Correct, right? So he will be the correct, both true. Kapil Muni is the earliest exponent of Sankhya philosophy. As per the philosophy, man's life is shaped by the forces of nature, not by any divine entity. Satkaryavada is the main doctrine of which philosophical system? Samakya philosophy. Satkaryavada. In the context of cause and effects, the doctrine of Satkaryavada belongs to the Sankhya philosophy. According to Sankhya Darshan, there is an inseparable relationship between cause and effect, meaning that effects pre-existed in cause and manifested form. From it, the absence of cause leads to the non-existence of its effect. This type of relationship between cause and effect is called inseparable connection, avinabhav, meaning that the existence of one necessarily implies that existence of other. If one does not exist, the other cannot exist either. The existence of one entity is always dependent on existence of another. For example, if there is no clay, a pot cannot be created. Correct. Who propagated Yoga Darshan? Patanjali. Baba Ramdev, it promoted yoga. So Patanjali also he promotes. So Patanjali promoted Yoga Darshan. Asked many times. Maharishi Patanjali is the founder of Yoga Darshan. Although the history of yoga in Indian tradition is very old, the descriptions about yoga are found in Upanishad, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, Jain and Buddha text. However, Maharishi Patanjali explained it as a compact philosophical theory. It is called Patanjali Darshan. Philosophy is very important. It comes in exam. Okay. The inventor of yoga was Patanjali. Which of the following is not part of Ashtanga Yoga? Anusmriti. Ashtanga Yoga means eight-limbed yoga as outlined by the sage Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra. It consists of 8 spiritual practices: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi, but Anusmriti is not part of Ashtanga Yoga. Right? What is called Antaranga Sadhana under Ashtanga Yoga? Dharana. Ashtanga Yoga, as outlined in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, provides a comprehensive guide comprising 8 limbs. It is designed for physical, mental, and spiritual development for an individual. There are 8 limbs are Yama, social discipline; Niyama, personal discipline; Asana, physical posture; Pranayama, very famous pranayama we should do also for healthy brain; breath control; Pratyahara, withdrawal of senses; Dharana, concentration; Dhyana, meditation, which is also important, focus on study; Samadhi, spiritual absorption. In Ashtanga Yoga, the Antaranga Sadhana is the last 3 limbs of the 8 limbs path of yoga, and they are considered internally aids to self-realization. These 3 limbs are dharana, concentration; dhyana, meditation; and samadhi, spiritual absorption. The writer of Mahabharata, Patanjali, was contemporary of Usmit Sunga. Right? Patanjali was contemporary with the Usmit Sunga. Patanjali, the author of Mahabharata, was contemporary to Usmit Sunga. Okay. Founder of School of Navya was Raghunath Shiromani and then okay. The foundation of Navya Nyaya School was a result of the revolutionary work of Mithila-based scholar Udayan or Udayancharya, and after that Ganges. Live well as long as you live. Live well even by borrowing, for once cremated, there is no return. This rejection of afterlife is an aphorism of the Charvakas. Right? Charvakas were focusing on the pleasure. But they didn't believe in the life after death. They were saying that take money from others and enjoy it. They were following this rule. Okay. Ajivka were different things. They focused on the destiny. Ajivka focused destiny based. Okay. They focus destiny and they focus on pleasure. Okay. So now Charvaka emphasized materialistic ideology in the school of Indian philosophy. The idea of this school of philosophy is to live well as long as you live well, even by borrowing. Yes, yes, this, they are what such thought they were having. For once cremated, there is no return. Okay. Who has said that the conscious body is the soul? Charvaka, right? Charvaka philosophy considers the physical body as the basis of consciousness. According to Charvaka, the soul and body are synonymous. They stated a body without consciousness is a corpse, and consciousness without a body is not a soul. They believed that the soul does not exist independently of the body. According to them, the soul is not a separate entity from the body because consciousness arises from the physical body itself. This view of Charvaka is known as Tatmavada, materialistic view of the soul. Who accepts only perceptions? It is Charvaka. Philosophy of Charvaka, originally known as Lokayata, is the ancient school of Indian materialism. Charvaka holds direct perceptions, empiricism, and conditional inference as a proper source of knowledge, embraces philosophical skepticism, and rejects Vedas, Vedic ritualism, and supernaturalism. Which one of the following is the highest value according to Charvaka? It is Kama, right? Charvaka, originally known as Lokayata, is the ancient school of Indian materialism. Charvaka holds direct perception, empiricism, and conditional inference as proper source of knowledge, embraces philosophical skepticism, and rejects Vedic ritualism and supernaturalism. Ajita Kes Kambili is credited as the forerunner of the Charvaka. Charvaka believed that there is nothing wrong with sensual pleasure, since it is impossible to have pleasure without pain. Charvaka thought that wisdom lay in enjoying pleasure and avoiding pain as far as possible. Unlike many of the philosophy of the time, Charvaka did not believe in austerity or rejecting pleasure out of fear of pain and held such reasoning to be foolish. The Sarva Siddhanta Samagraha states that Charvaka position of pleasure and hedonism as follows. The enjoyment of heaven lies in eating delicious food. You just see this. They were enjoying like this. Eating delicious food, keeping good company of young women, using fine clothes, perfumes, garlands, sandal paste, while moksha is death. Okay. Which is cessation of life breath. The wise therefore ought not take pains on account of moksha. Charvaka philosophical system was also called Lokayata system. Okay. Charvaka also known as Lokayata. Okay. So the Nyaya philosophy system was propagated by Gautama. Nyaya Darshan was propagated by Darshan. Remember the Nyaya Gautam. Okay. Who is also known as Akshapada Yanji Ranga. You can like remember this. The word Nyaya means a decision or logic. Okay. Decision or logic. Nyaya. Nyaya Darshan recognizes the existence of 16 substances or elements. The original text of Nyaya Darshan is Nyaya Sutra, which is the masterpiece of Gautam. Nyaya Sutra is written by Gautam. Maharshi Kapila propagated Sankhya Darshan. Okay, Maharshi Kapila related with Sankhya Darshan. Okay, yes. While Jaimini propagated Purva Mimamsa. Remember this. The philosophical names important. Jaimini wrote Purva Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa. JP semantic. Like this. Remember JP Jaimini Purva Mimamsa. Right. The founder of Nyaya philosophy is Gautam Yanji. Who propagated the Nyaya philosophy? Yanji Gautam. Right. NG Ranga, that President INC. So, author of Nyaya Darshan is Gautam. Then you have to match it. Nyaya Darshan, logical thinking. Okay. You focus on logical thinking. Okay. Sankhya Darshan, knowledge of self promoted. So A is 4, Yirgan. Right? B is 3, Mimamsa Darshan, performing rituals. Sankhya Darshan is acquiring. Sankhya Darshan is, wait. Sankhya Darshan, C is 2, na? C is 2. A is 4. Okay. So Sankhya Darshan is acquisition of real knowledge. Okay. Vedanta is knowledge of self. Okay. So B will be the answer. Nyaya Darshan is logical thinking, correct. Mimamsa Darshan, performing Vedic rituals. Sankhya Darshan is acquisition of real knowledge. Okay. Vedanta Darshan, knowledge of self. Philosophy propagator. So Nyaya philosophy promoted by Gautam. Purva Mimamsa Darshan is JP Cement. You can remember like this. Jaimini. Sankhya Darshan, Kapil. SK Shahrukh Khan, you can remember like this. SK. So SK Sankhya Darshan is Kapil. Vedant Darshan है उत्तर मीमांसा है भद्र नारायण के वीबी. विशेषिका दर्शन उलुक कनद. वैशेषिका कनद वीके. कनद मीन्स एटम based. He promoted theory of atom based. Yoga darshan is Patanjali. Right. Any Nyaya philosophy, which are the following is a synonym for knowledge or Gyan? It is Buddhi, cognition, and Upalabdhi, apprehension. See, in Nyaya philosophy, knowledge, Gyan is considered synonymous with Buddhi, cognition, and Upalabdhi, apprehension. The term Gyan is used in two senses. Restricted sense refers to unmanifested knowledge. Broad sense refers to both manifested and unmanifested knowledge. Important to note that in Indian philosophy, the means of acquiring knowledge is termed pramana. Right? Which of the following pairs schools are thought proponent is correctly matched? Which one proponent? Nyaya, Gautam, Yanji. Okay. So Patanjali is yoga philosophy. Okay. Mimamsa is not Kanad. Uttar Mimamsa not Kapil. Okay. So Vaiseshika is Kanad Muni. Vaiseshika, Kanad Muni, VK. Nyaya Yanji, JP Cement. Jaimini is Purva Mimamsa. Okay. Uttar Mimamsa, UB, Bhadra Narayan. Mimamsa was initiated by Jaimini, JP, Purva Mimamsa. Okay. The theory of karma is related with Mimamsa. The theory of karma is related to Mimamsa philosophy. It is known as the Karma Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa, or Dharma Mimamsa. The Acharya of Mimamsa, Kumaril Bhatta, is considered as the link between Purva Mimamsa and Vedanta. Which of the following school of philosophy is of the opinion that Vedas contain the eternal truth? It is Mimamsa. Okay. Mimamsa philosophy accepts that Vedas contain the eternal truth. Purva Mimamsa tells about Karma Kand, while Uttar Mimamsa about Jnana Kand. Okay. Purva means first क्या आता है? कर्म करो, फिर उसके बाद ज्ञान, फिर कर्म कर ज्ञान लो. उत्तर मीमांसा कर्म या ज्ञान. The doctrine of Apurva is related to Mimamsa. The doctrine of Apurva is related to Mimamsa philosophy. As per Mimamsa, Apurva is an unseen force that is mediator between deeds, performance, karma, and their results. The deeds performed in this world creates an unseen force known as Apurva, something that was not there before the performance of deeds. Which of the following philosophy of the Indian propounded the atom theory? It is Vaiseshika. Okay. The Maharishi Kanad is associated with the atom theory. Maharishi Kanad. Okay. He was scientist and a philosopher who propounded Vaiseshika school of Indian philosophy, in which he gave atom. Okay, KV, you can say kiwi, eat a kiwi. So Kanada and Vaiseshika. Indian philosophy, in which he gave atomic approach to physics and philosophy of Sanskrit. Who among the following is called the founder of Indian atomism. Atomism is Kannada. Okay, Kannada kiwi. वैसे इसका atomic God is atom. Maharishi Kannada was the founder of Vasiska School of Indian Philosophy. He propounded atom theory and called as the founder of Indian atomism. According to this theory, material subjects are made of atom. The Vasiska thus marked the beginning of physics in India. Kannada was first to prove that atom is the smallest unit of any matter. Atom cannot be seen through naked eyes and cannot be further divided. The Vasiska school gives importance to the discussion of material elements or drav. Earth, water, fire, air, and sky, when combined, give rise to new objects. Which one of the following pairs does not form part of the sixth system of Indian philosophy? Not parts, it's parts. लोग क्या आता है? Sankhya लोग क्या आता? Not one. Sankhya and Yoga philosophy. So C will be the answer. 2024. 117. C. Hindu philosophy refers to group of darshans, philosophies, worldview, teaching that emerged in ancient India. The mainstream Hindu philosophy includes six systems: Sadarshana, Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Hence, Lokyata, Kapalika, not. Right? Which are the following is the Gnostic school of thought? It is Buddha. Buddha is considered as a Gnostic school as they don't take the Vedas as a valid source of knowledge. Buddhism has a massive impact on Indian philosophy and culture. Due to the constant dialogue and debate between these non-Vedic schools and other schools, Indian philosophy got developed, which is called Lokyata Darshan, Charvaka. Lokyata also called Charvaka. Charvaka they focus on materialistic life. Charvaka philosophy, known as Lokyata Darshan, it is an Indian materialistic philosophy that gives prominence to materialistic things and pleasure. The founder of Advaita philosophy is Shankaracharya. The principal exponent of Advaita Vedanta interpretation was Adi Shankaracharya, who systematized the work of preceding philosophers. Samkara's philosophy is called as non-dualism. Non-dualism philosophy is the aptly described in Samkara's philosophy of Advaita Vedanta. It believes that Brahmana is the one and only reality and everything else is mere illusion. Through knowledge of the identity of Atman, soul, and Brahman, one can attain mukti, salvation. Okay. Non-dualism, Samkaraj. So everything is illusion only. The Brahman is the reality. Through knowledge of the identity, Atman, soul, and Brahman can attain mukti. So remember this. Who is called crypto-Buddhist? It is Samkara. Samkara or Shankaracharya was propounder of Advaita philosophy in Hinduism. He included many Buddhist concepts in his philosophy, due to which he is known as Buddhist, crypto-Buddhist. Okay, Samkara to Buddhist. By which are the following, according to Advaita Vedanta, when mukti be obtained is Jnana. Advaita Vedanta. According to Advaita Vedanta, the mukti liberation can be obtained by knowledge. It centers around knowledge and believes that correct understanding provides knowledge of identity of Atman, soul, and Brahman, which results in mukti liberation. Who was the author of Vishisht Advaita Siddhanta? Vishisht Ramanujacharya. Vishisht Advaita Siddhanta Ramanujacharya. Okay. Vishisht Advaita. Okay, we are. You can remember like this. We are. Vishisht Advaita is one of the main branch of Vedanta. It is Sanskrit term which means non-dualism with differentiation. Vaishnavite saint Ramanujacharya is widely credited with spreading the philosophy of Vishisht Advaitavad. Yeah. Ramanujacharya. Vishisht Advaitavad. RV. Who among the following is not related to the philosophy of Vedanta? It is Abhinav Gupta. Not related. He is Shankaracharya. Philosophy of Vedanta. Ramanuja, Madhava. Abhinav Gupta is not related to philosophy of Vedanta. The thesis of Vedanta philosophy has an enormous impact on Hindu thought and culture. Shankaracharya 8th century, Ramanuja 11th century. Remember the chronology. Shankaracharya 8th century, Ramanuja 11th century, and Madhava 13th century. Well-researched scholars of the Vedantic schools gave varying interpretations of Vedanta philosophy. My list for is second. era. So we have to match A, B, C, D. Era, Vikram era, Saka era, Gupta era, Kali era. Okay. So we have to match it. List second record one. So 78 AD, you know it's Sak and Vikram 58. Okay, so 78 at Sak. So B is 3. Okay, so this is cut, this is cut, and 4 is Vikram. A is 4. Okay, so definitely here A there. C. Okay, to deal with the answer. Vikram started Vikram era in 57 AD. 57 BC Vikram era. On the occasion of his victory over Saka. Okay, Vikramaditya victory over Sak. So Vikram era started in 57 BC. The Sak era was started by Kanishka. In 78 AD, the Gupta era was started by Chandragupta first in 319 AD. In this question matched with 320 AD. Okay. Is nearest to it. Kali era is assumed to be have started in 3102 BC. Told. Consider the following statement and select the correct answer from the quote. So 1, 2. So Vikram era right 58, Saksama 78, Gupta 319 AD. Correct. Okay, Chandragupta first. So all of them are correct. EPPCS spiritual 11. Vikram Samvat was launched in 57 BC and Sak Samvat in 78. Thou Gupta era. Remember this, sometimes they ask 57 BC. Vikram first, then Samvat. This is the national calendar Samvat. Sak Samvat calendar 78 AD. Thou Gupta dynasty was founded by Sri Gupta. The reign of Gupta dynasty founded by Sri Gupta. The reign of Chandragupta first is considered as the beginning of Gupta Empire. Although Muhammad bin Qasim managed in the region in earlier century, but the period of Muslim rule in India began in 1192 AD after the victory of Gori. This is not correct. After the Gori. Battle Taranta solid statement are correct. Chronology they asked. Chronology na. Okay. Which is correct. Muslim rule started in 1192. Gandhaya was a coin. Okay, Gandhaya was a coin. Mostly coin is answer in options. So coin. So Gandhaya was a type of silver coin. These coins were promulgated on the lines of Sasanian. The Badami rock inscription application file is dated in the Saka year 465. If the same were to be dated in Vikram Sambat, the year would be, we can add a year. Here 57 and 465. 57. Okay, 2, 522. Ready. Yeah. 600, 180. Badami rock inscription application file is dated in the Saka era. Is dated in Saka era 465 AD. Okay. It means it's going ahead. So we have to add 135 here, right? 135, correct? 5 on this. 135. So 601. Okay, 58 if you add. So 601 it will come. So Saka era, this is the correct. Saka started 78 while Vikram Sambat started 57, 58. So if you want convert, so here you can 465, 78, 58, 600. The Malava Samvat was also known as Krit Samvat. Vikram Samvat is also known as Krit Samvat and Malava Samvat. Vikram Samvat of Vikram calendar is believed to have been started by King Vikramaditya and it starts in 57 or 58 BC. Remember the Vikramaditya, Vikram Samvat. It started by Vikramaditya, Vikram Samvat in 57 BC. Chalukya inscription is dated in the year 556 of Saqqara. It's equivalent to, we can reduce 556 minus, you can add, it's asking about Saqqara. Okay. 556 of the Saqqara, it is equivalent to, so you can add it, it is 78 AD right now. So 434 AD. According to Purana, the prime place of the Chandravansh ruler was Pratisthanpur. According to Purana, Chandravansha or Somvansha was one of the prime dynasty of the Kshatriya Varna. The prime place of the Chandravansha ruler was Prayag, but after a natural calamity, Dwapar Yuga, Chandravanshi king Samvaram established capital in Pratisthanpur. The concept of Mokhari was Kannauj. Mokhari were the feudatory of Gupta who were basically from Gaya. The ruler of Mokhari dynasty made Kannauj their capital. Hari Varma, Aditya Varma, Ishan Varma, Sar Varma and Gra Varma were chief rulers of the dynasty. Which are the following not correct? Which one? Sar Varma is Gaya Copperplate. No. Iswar Varma, Jaunpur stone inscription. Ishan Varma, Harsa stone inscriptions. Jivit Gupta. Second is Devabharana inscription. Asking 2022. A copper seal inscription of the Mokhari king Sar Varma. It is king was found in fort of Asirgarh, not Gaya, north city of Burhanpur in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. The text of the description reveals the genealogy of the Mokhari kings beginning with Harivarman. From the decline of Gupta until the rise of Harshavardhana in the early 7th century, which of the following kingdoms were holding powers in northern India? So definitely Magadha will be there. Okay. Did not destroy. So first is correct. So remove this, remove this. Paramita, Malwa, Pusabita will be there definitely. Harshavardhan. So second is correct. 1 and 2. So here second is not there. Actually 1 to 5. Yadavad up there. Okay, Mokhari nahi there. Maitra wala bhi not there. IS Preet, you can eliminate like this. Magadha were there na, like Maurya period. So Magadha you can add, and Harshavardhana were there at that time. Here asking decline na, so Harshavardhan by Pushabhuti started na. So Pushabhuti dynasty of Harshavardhana there. So 1 and 2, where you will get 1 and 2 together over here, first option. So only 1 and 2 correct. IS Preet 121 they asked. You can correct this option. After the decline of Gupta, the later Gupta succeeded as the ruler of Magadha during the early 7th century. They ruled parts of the northern India, including Magadha, current Bihar. So correct. The Paramara dynasty ruled the western and central part of India, including Malwa, between 9th to 14th century. Remember this Paramara. So before being captured to Delhi, so it's not correct. Pushabodh of Thaneswar, current Haryana. This dynasty of Harshavardhan. Various parts of northern India during 6th to 7th century AD. So it's correct. The Mokhari dynasty ruled parts of Uttar Pradesh and Magadha, including Kannauj. The dynasty ruled till 606 AD, when it was reconquered by later Guptans. Statement 4 are correct. Okay. Mokhari of Kannauj were also correct, but not given in option together. The Yadavas of Devgiri ruled from 1187 to 1317 in western part. Okay. Just know the date around, not much. So 5 correct. Maitraka Vallavi ruled western and northern part of current day Gujarat during the 5th century to later. S is correct. B is correct. B is correct. 1346 years. 1346 is not. Gupta Magadha Pushabhuti. Okay. 5 will not be there. Yadavas what came later there, it can't be true. This is also can't be true. So 134 Mokhari ya Kannauj and 6. Right? Just if you remove Yadavas 5, so easily you can reach answer. So 1 Magadha will be there here with the answer. Right? Who laid the foundation of Vardhana dynasty? Pushbhuti. Harshvardhan belonged to Pushbhuti dynasty. This is also called Vardhana dynasty. Why Pushbhuti dynasty? Pushbhuti founded this king Vardhana dynasty. Asked in BPSC 2022. According to Banbhatt composition, Harshcharita written by Banbhatt. Remember this. The establishment of Vardhana dynasty was done by a person named Pushbhuti in Thaneswar. Harshvardhana was a greater ruler of this dynasty. Harshvardhana belonged to Pushbhuti dynasty of Vardhana dynasty. Information regarding time of Harsha is continued in the book of Kalhan. Rastarangani wrote Kalhan. Detailed information regarding Harsha is received from the Harshcharita written by Banbhatt. Who was court poet of Harsha? Remember the Harshcharita written by Banbhatt. Some information regarding him is also available from Rastarangani written by Kallan. Remember this book, important book. Rastarangani written by Kallan. There is no information about Harsha in the book written by Kalidas and Harisai. Okay. Who has written the Harshcharita? Banbhatt. Simple. Eminent author Banbhatt composed the text Harshcharita. This is the major source of Vardhana dynasty. It is fable in which the author presents the description of his contemporary ruler and the biography of their ancestor. The capital of Harsha's empire was Kannauj, for which tripartite war happened between Rashtrakuta, Suryapatyar and Pala. Okay. Chinese source reveals that Harsha and Rajasri ruled together over Kannauj. Harsha shifted his capital to Kannauj from Thaneswar to help his sister Rajasri in the proper administration of Kannauj. Kannauj was a suitable place to rule over the extensive empire of Harsha. Emperor Harsha had shifted his capital from Thaneswar to Kannauj. Okay. Harshavardhan organized two great religious conventions in where Prayagraj and Thaneswar. Okay. So A will be the answer. Asking about the religious conventions, Prayagraj and Kannauj. Kannauj was capital, no? So Kannauj and Prayagraj. Harsha held a massive council of various religions and sects in Kannauj to prove the excellence of Mahayana over other religions. According to Chinese evidence, rulers of 20 countries along with other eminent Brahmins, Shravanaj countries, etc. arrived here. This meeting was presided over by Yuan-Sang, a function used to be held at Sangam region of Prayagraj every 5th year of Harsha's rule, which is stated as a Mahamoksha Council. Yuan-Sang himself attended the 6th function, which was attended by 18 rulers of various countries. The place in UP where Harshvardhan organized the Buddha mega convention is Prayag. Right? Harshvardhan held a convention in Prayag. And that's why it is said that Prayagraj, like Mahakumbh, started from this convention. Which of the following rulers ruled Assam in the time of Harsha? Bhaskar Varman. Right? BPSC 2024. Right? Bhaskar Varman ruled on Assam region. During the relevant period mentioned in the text, Bhaskar Varman ruled over Assam. Bhaskar Varman was the last ruler of Varman dynasty. Emperor Ashoka's southern march was started on the Narmada river by Pulkesin II, famous thing. Okay. Pulkesin II defeated Harsha. Emperor Harsha's southward march was started on the Narmada river by Pulkesin II, a Chalukyan ruler. Remember the Pulkesin II related with Chalukyan ruler who defeated Harsha. This incident is mentioned in Ayol inscription. Remember this inscription, very important. Ayol inscriptions of Pulkesin II and inscription of Yuan-Sang. Okay. Among the following ruler who had defeated Harshvardhana, Pulkesin II. Okay. The Chalukya ruler Pulkesin's victory over Harsha was in the year 618. Harsha's southward march was started on Narmada river by Chalukyan king Pulkesin, who ruled over a greater part of modern Karnataka and Maharashtra with his capital at Badami. Okay. Badami was capital of Pulkesin of Chalukyan king, modern Bijapur district of Karnataka. The battle between Harsha and Pulkesin was fought sometime between 630 to 634 AD. The first reason in support of this battle is the result of the Battle of Ballavi, which itself cannot be said to have been fought before 630 AD. Again, Pulkesin's Loanara inscriptions of 630 AD, which mentions the names of his defeated enemy, does not include the name of Harsha, but Aiyol inscriptions of 634 AD mentions this battle. In these conditions, the correct time would be 630 AD. Okay. Researchers of Bhandarkar Kudeta research claim that the date application great term for Harsha could be 618. This informs was based on a centrally discovered copper plate inscriptions of Pulkesin second. So this is a correct answer. Poet Bana was an inhabitant of Pratikut on the bank of Son River in Aurangabad district of present Bihar. But Harsha is written. The name of his father and mother was Chirbhanu and Rajdevi respectively. In whose reign period the Chinese traveler Wensang visited India? Is Harsha. The arrival of Wensang was the most important event of Harsha period. His desire was to visit the place related to Mahatma Buddha and study Buddhist texts which was available in India. He departed from India in 629 from Changan, the capital of Tang River. He wrote a book on his tour to India named Siyuki. Siyuki written by Wensang. Remember this book, very important. Okay. Which Chinese traveler visited India during Harshvardhana rule is Wensang. Important things. UPSC 2015. UPSC also asked in this year. So remember this. Fayan, about Fayan, Chandra second. Chinese traveler Wensang, who visited India, recorded the greater condition and culture of India at that time. In the context, which one of the following is correct? The roads and river routes were completely immune from no. Wensang was himself was looted by some robbers. How you can say completely? Completely is a extreme word. You can make it wrong. Wrong is correct. As regards punishment for offenses ordeals by the fire, water, and poisons were the instrument for determining the innocent or guilt of the prison. Unique rule. You can see. The tradesman had to pay duties at ferries and barrier station. Okay, correct. Wensang stayed in India and visited almost every province of the country. According to Wensang, the roads and river routes were not completely immune from robbery. Wensang was himself robbed many times, not one time, during voyage and travels. Okay, so one is incorrect. According to Wensang, punishment for the crime was harsh during the time. Ordeals by fire, waters, and poison were used to determine the innocence or guilt of a person. From the records of Wensang, this fact is highlighted that tax was levied on trade routes, banks of rivers, products, and goods, by which the state collected an ample amount of money. Who sent Wensang as an emissary to the court of Harsha? Wensang was contemporary of Tai Sunga. Tai Sunga had banned foreign tours in the West Parish region. But Wensang came to India by Silk Road in 629 AD. After 13 years of his migration, when he went back to China, the emperor welcomed him and appointed him as a spiritual advisor. On emperor's request, he composed his experience in a record of Western region, Siyuki. Okay, so none of them are ordered. Okay. During Wensang tour in India, most famous city for the production of cotton cloth was Mathura. The traveler from China, Wensang, arrived in India during Harsha period and stayed here. According to Wensang, Mathura was famous for the production of cotton textile. He also mentioned that region for the prosperity of Thanesar was its trade. Ujjaini was as well as Kannauj were economically prosperous too. Okay. The term Kausaya has been used for silk. Right. In Gupta and later Gupta period, the word Kausaya was used to denote silk. Chinese traveler Wensang is studied at the University of Nalanda, which our Prime Minister inaugurated recently in Bihar, Nalanda district. Nalanda University again started. Okay. The traveler from China, Wensang, arrived in India in Harsha period. Remember this? During Harsha period. And went to Nalanda University in 737 AD. Acharya Silabhadra was the vice chancellor of Nalanda University at that time. He learned a yogastra there for almost 1.5 years. He also delivered a speech during his second visit to Nalanda University. The major reason behind remembering Yuan is why composition of Siyuki, important book written by Yuan. Yuan wrote a text Siyuki based on his journey. He remembered for his composition as it consists of several information about ancient India. Chinese traveler who visited Bhinmal was Yuan. Bhinmal, visited by Yuan was a Chinese traveler who arrived in India. During Hasa period, he also traveled to Bhinmal. His composition is known as Siyuki. He was a Buddhist. A famous travelogue Siyuki linked with Yuan. Siyuki is a Buddhist record composed by Chinese traveler Yuan. It contains the record of his travel. Chinese traveler Singh was on the tour of Bihar and about he came after the Yuan. I remember this. Okay. With his desire to see the relics of Buddhism, Chinese traveler Singh, remember, during this period, 671 to 695, with his 37 Buddhist associates, decided to travel to Western countries. Later, his associates left him and he alone moved to India from Canton city. He came to India through Western Sea route and returned to China via Sumatra. Which of the following phrases define the nature of the Hundi generally referred to in the sources of the post-Harsa period? Remember this, IS 2023. Hundi means in NCERT given it is. Okay. It is a bill of exchange, clearly written in NCERT. You can read it. And in Upinder Singh book also written this Hundi terminology. A bill of exchange. In the source of post-Harsa period, Hundi was treated as a bill of exchange. As per RBI, Hundi refers to financial instrument evolved on the Indian subcontinent used in trade and credit transaction. Okay, credit transaction, bill of exchange. It means that if a merchant is living at one place and another merchant is living at another place, so if he is selling any product, so he can give a Hundi, a written bill of exchange. Okay, without transferring any things, okay, any products, and he can give to another merchants, so he can get the money from another merchants by sharing this, or he can get another products from another merchant by this bill of exchange. Like if any person paid money to a person and he want a product, so bill of exchange will be given and he can get the products from another merchants through this by showing this bill of exchange. So this Chinese writers mentions India by the name of Intu. In ancient day, Chinese writers mention India by the name of Intu or Siantu, which means a variation of Hindu or Sindhu. Nalanda University was destroyed by which one? Muslims. Bakhtiyar Khilji, 11th century AD. Okay. Nalanda University attracted scholars and students from Tibet, China, Greece, and Persia. It was ransacked and destroyed by the army of Bakhtiyar Khilji. Remember this, Bakhtiyar Khilji destroyed the Nalanda, Vikramshila, and other university and temple at the end of the 12th century. It can be seen as the coup de grace, final blow. Okay, 12th century destroyed to the decline of Buddha, and it led to decline of Buddhism. And Pallava was the last ruler who supported this Buddhism. The most ancient monastery in India is Nalanda. In the above given option, Nalanda is the most ancient monastery in Bihar. The history of Nalanda, the ancient university town of Bihar, goes back to the days of Buddha and Mahavira in the 6th century BC. However, excavations have not revealed anything to suggest that the site was occupied before the Buddha period. Nalanda is located in Bihar. Okay. And during post-Gupta period, main business center was Kannauj. Okay. During the post-Gupta period, the business center was shifted to Kannauj from Ujjain. During Gupta period, the importance of Ujjain increased as Chandragupta II made it second capital. During post-Gupta period, Harsa made Kannauj capital in place of Thaneswar. Remember, the Harsa made Kannauj capital in place of Thaneswar. As Kannauj was situated on the banks of Ganga and Jamuna, it was a place of business importance and became The center of attraction for three powers, Palaj, Pratyahara, and Rashtrakuta, tripartite war, they were involved, right? Rashtrakuta, Pratyahara, and Palaj. The main features of the agrarian structures in the post-Gupta period was the development of feudalism. Correct. The landowner, middle class, and the dependent peasants class came into existence in this period. Correct. So is the correct. Okay. So consider the following statement: the Chinese pilgrim Haiyan attended the fourth Great Buddhist Council held by Kanishka. Not correct. How is possible in first century? Haiyan came later during the Chandragupta second. Chinese pilgrim Yuan met Harsa and found him to be antagonist to Buddhism. No, he was supported Buddhism. Chinese pilgrim Haiyan came to India during the reign of Chandragupta II and traveled to various places of India. Chinese, yeah, he came. Remember, the Haiyan came during Chandragupta II. This question was asked this year in APSC. Right? Chinese pilgrim Yuan traveled to India from Chang'an, the capital of Tang rule since 2980. Harsa had already leaned towards Buddhism before meeting Yuan. After meeting Yuan, Harsa granted royal patronage to Mahayana, a branch of Buddhism, and became Harsa supported Mahayana. Right? Haiyan was a Chinese pilgrim who visited India during the reign of Harsa. Right? Correct. Not correct. Visited during the Vikramaditya II, not Harsa. Harsa was the Siyuki written by Harsa. This Wensang. Yach. Remember this. Wensang came during Harsa. The Huensang was a Chinese Buddhist monk who visited during the reign of Chandragupta, not is Harsa. So it reverse. You can hear this and you can hear this. Both are incorrect. Haiyan came during the Chandragupta. This Huensang came. This Ising came. This Almost came. This. So Ising visited India during the 671 AD, 695 AD. Okay. Al-Masudi visited in 915 AD to 1680. Haiyan traveled in India only for 10 years. While his entire trip from China occurred during 399 to 414, events visited India during 629 to 414. Years are differences, so that's why it's a D. Not no answer is correct. Okay. Consider the following foreign travelers and arrange them in ascending order. So which came first? Haiyan came first. Second, who came? Wensang. Third came Itsing. Fourth came Al-Baruni. So 4, 3, 1, 2. Haiyan visited India during the 10th century, 402, while the overall journey from China lasted from 399. Wensang also called or Juanzang, visit India lasted 629 to 645. Itsing visited 671 to 69. Al-Biruni arrived in India with Muhammad Ghaznavi. He came with Muhammad Ghaznavi during the 11th century. So just know the rough date, not exactly don't know it to remember. Just know that first came Haiyan, then Wensang, then Itsing, then Al-Biruni. Just know this only, that much, not here. Consider following statement, right? Sun Temple of Multan is mentioned by Wensang, Abu Jiyad, and Al-Masudi and Al-Biruni. Okay. It means they have written some book and they mentioned. So it is correct because Jamna didn't read the whole book. So definitely maybe somewhere mentioned. The pilgrimage to Sambapur was associated with some worship, correct? Sun Temple of Multan is mentioned by Wensang, Al-Masudi and Al-Biruni. Pilgrimage to Sambal was associated with the Sun Temple. The both are correct. With reference to the ancient history, which are the following, they are correct. A very strong centralized political authority and a very weak provincial local political authority. Wrong. Feudal means decentralized system, not centralized. Okay, so it's wrong. So first remove. Okay, ISP 2015. Emergence of administrative structure based on the control and possession of land. Correct. Creation of lord vassal relationship between feudal lord and overseas. This is the characteristic of feudal system. So 2 and 3 is correct. India has a specific significance in the context of feudal system. The system was led during the Shaka period and it gained its high during the Rajput period. The feudal system in India remained an integral part of administration. During Kusana, Rajputa, Sultan, and Mughal period, the feudal system had a strong authority which used to divide their empires into several parts and navigate it through feudalism. Feudal were relatively in a weak position as they used to follow the orders and instructions of the king's central authority. Feudal had the right to collect tax and right to govern. The relationship of master and slave between the king and feudal is not found in the Indian context. Indian feudal system was different from the feudal system of Europe. It also shows the emergence of administrative structure based on control and possession of the land. Who is the author of the Swandani inscriptions of the Yasodharman? It is Vasula Kavi. Okay. Vasula Kavi is the composer of Yasodharman Sudani inscription. This inscription is considered an important historical and literary document of Yasodharman's regime. It provides information about King Yasodharman's victory and governance. Which one of the following statements is not true? Apart Shankaracharya sent of its century. He established four religious centers in different parts, correct. He countered the spread of Buddhism and Jainism, correct. He named Prayag Tirth Raj, nowhere mentioned. He propagated Vedanta, correct. So C is the answer. Shankaracharya, also named as Sankara, was born in Kaladi, a small village in Kerala. Right, Shankaracharya born in Kerala. 8th century. At this time, Hinduism, which had diminished in status due to arrival of Jainism and Buddhism, again rose to eminence. With the emergence of Shankaracharya, he advocated the greatness of Vedanta. Vedanta is promoted to study and compile the. He traveled all over India on foot. His philosophy known as Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta propagated by Shankaracharya. Remember this. Advaita Vedanta. Okay, means monism, means single God. Okay. The God will be only one, Advait. Okay. In single God, black, they only focus on the Brahman. Brahman as the only one. The four religion centers established by Shankaracharya are considered as the most important center of Hinduism. Adi Shankar, who later became Shankaracharya, was born in Kerala. Okay. Where four monasteries established by Adi Shankaracharya is situated? Simply Joshimath, Dwarka, Puri, Sringeri. It is still worshipped. Badrinath, Dwarka, Puri, and Rameswarpur are the Char Dham, while Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath, and Badrinath are the little Char Dham located in Uttarakhand. The four monasteries established by Adi Shankaracharya, Jyotirmath, Sringeri, Puri, and Dwarka in west and north. Which of the following is not included in Char Dham? It is Mansarovar. Like Puri mentioned, the Dwarka, Rameswaram, right? Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? Ravi Kirti during Purkishan second correct. Bhav both yes or no correct. Harisen not Harsa, it is Samudragupta, so it's wrong. Dande Narasimhan Verma correct. Harisen was the compiler of Prayag Prasasti and secretary of Samudragupta. Okay. While Banbhatta was the poet laureate of Harsa. Match list first with next second. So Harisen is related with Samudragupta. Kalidas related with Chandragupta II, Navaratna. Banbhatta related with Harshavardhan. Amir Khusro related with Alauddin. Age 4. Cut. Right? This is also cut. Second is first. We wait with the answer. Good. Amir Khusro was the poet laureate of Alauddin Khilji. Kalidas was the poet laureate of Chandragupta II and one of the Navaratna of his court. Harisen was the loyal secretary of Samudragupta and Banbhatta was the poet laureate of the Harshavardhan. Right? Which match? We have to match it. So Bhoj was Durgavati and Samudragupta and Asoka. So which one is related? We have to tell it. So Bhoj is related with the Dhar in Madhya Pradesh region. Durgavati related with the Gondwana. Okay, Samudragupta related with the Vidisha, Madhya Pradesh. Asoka related with the Ujjain, he was the governor. Okay. During the Chandragupta Maurya. उज्जैन, भोज, रिलेटिव धार, दुर्गावती, गोंडवाना, समुद्रगुप्त विदिशा, उज्जैन. You have to match it. So famous place and present. So गिरनार in गुजरात, correct है. गिरनार गुजरात. And भीलसा in मध्य प्रदेश. And द्वार समुद्रम not Maharashtra. And Thanesar is not Uttar Pradesh, so it's wrong. 2020. If you know only one and only first know the three, everybody know Gir Forest, Gujarat. Okay. So three, if you correct, so these two options is wrong. Now 50-50 you can do. And Thaneswar, you know it here. It's not Thaneswar, right? Like Harswardhan not made it capital. It made it capital Jan. So Thaneswar is not here. Haryana part. So it's wrong. Fourth is wrong. Okay. And then second, Dwar Samudram is not correct. So Pilsan, Madhya Pradesh, is correct. Melisa is an archaeological site in Vidsa, Madhya Pradesh. Dwar Samudram was capital of Hoysala dynasty, which ruled in the modern Karnataka region. Ginnar is a group of monuments in the Junagadh district of the Gujarat. Right. Asthaneswar is the historical town and modern Hindu pilgrimage center on the banks of the Saraswati River, Haryana. Remember this, Asthaneswar. Okay.